Well, this is the first lunch with the Supe for the new school year. I appreciate the foundation support. Keela Stovall, Executive Director, and all the board. They do a great job supporting our schools. And so they sponsor this event. And it's basically today we're just going to talk about looking toward the future. Last year was an interesting year, to say the least. We've had a great start to the school year, so we're looking forward this year.
Tell us, what are your goals for East Baton Rouge Parish Schools this year?
I moved here some 25 years ago. I'm a transplant. This is home now for me, and half my life has been here, almost half. I want to make sure that my kids, as they get older, and they're late teens at this point, and they have kids, know that there are quality education opportunities in the public school system, because there are. But even more than that, I want to make sure that they're even better than they are today. And that's why I'm involved. So I'm glad you are here, because I take your attendance as an indication that you are also interested in the same thing. So I'm very thankful for that.
We just heard about an hour ago that we received the Magnet Schools of America Assistance Grant. And it is a fantastic grant, $14.5 million over 5 years. So Teresa Porter came floating into my office about an hour and a half ago saying, we got it. And I said, we got what? And she told me what that was. And here's what it is. It is going to provide a STEM-based grant for magnet school in Villa Del Rey Elementary, Park Forest Elementary, Park Forest Middle School, and Bel Air High School. So Bel Air High School is going to get a big magnet STEM grant. That is awesome, awesome stuff. So let me, I've got about 45 minutes worth of stuff to say in 20 minutes. So I'm going to do the best I can. So when you get your meal, don't stop. Keep on eating, because I'm going to keep on talking, all right? So first off, I'd like to say, what is the vision we have for our district? You know, there are so many different things we want to do. And, you know, I talk about the great schools we have. We have challenges. And you all know with the ESSA grant, we just applied for a grant for the ESSA. And we have 29 schools that are below where we want them to be. And we're working on those schools through a series of getting the right curriculum, putting the right teachers in there, and making sure they teach the right curriculum and teach bell to bell. It's not rocket science, but I can't really say that because in some schools it is rocket science, okay? There is rocket science in our schools, so believe me. But we have 15% of our schools that are National Blue Ribbon schools. You know, we have some phenomenal opportunities, even if they're not National Blue Ribbon schools. So here's what we want to do. We want to, number one, we provide and want to provide for all students. All students. I was at Wildwood Elementary School last week. The governor and his wife were there for the No Kid Hungry program that they kicked off for the whole state. We have a breakfast in the classroom program that's in 30 of our 83 schools. And that's a great example of what happens. It allows every student to get a healthy breakfast. They get it in the classroom. They get it, they take it to the classroom. So what does that do? It allows a teacher to talk to them in a very, very calming, low tone. They learn manners. They learn proper eating of good, healthy meals. It just does something different than them going to the cafeteria and sitting there and gulping something down and hollering and screaming with kids or whatever they're doing. It's an additional teaching opportunity, and the governor used that school to kick off the No Kid Hungry grant for the state. So what does it take to be a great school? It takes great teachers, great principal, a curriculum that is aligned to our assessments. And that's what we're working on right now. Currently, we don't have the curriculum that's totally aligned. And so you may have a teacher that's busting their tail in the classroom, but they may not be teaching everything that's being assessed. That's not good. We're working on that, and we're going to get that solved. One of the big pushes right now that we have is integration of technology. That's technology integration into the classroom. That's not stopping and saying, okay, now we're going to work on a computer. I want you to know that in the last year, we started with a $30 million deficit a couple of years ago. We cut $13 million from the budget, and the reason I entitled today's speech looking forward is because I want to forget about last year, don't we all? The flood, do y'all remember that? I'm not going to talk about that, but we all know what the challenge was from the flood, not just for the EBR school system, this entire parish. And you look at Florida and Texas after this hurricane, and they know what it's all about now. It's very, very difficult. So one of the things we are doing, though, even with that deficit that we still have and we're working to correct, and the board wants me to bring them a balanced budget, we can do that. But there may be some things we have to adjust. But what I want to tell you is, even with that challenge, we were able to put 21,000 devices in schools this past year. Last year was the first year that students tested grades 5 through 8 on the computer. Well, we were all set to go, and we were getting computers in there, and then the flood happens, and then a lot of them got flooded. Kids were moved all over the place. It was difficult. Now we have one-to-one computers, Chromebooks from grades 5 through 9. We also have some additional one-to-one areas with Northeast High School, for example. Also Struma High School and Audubon Elementary School. So this next year, 10th and 11th grade, we're going to just continue to move up. Pretty soon, all of our kids will have one-to-one computers, have a computer. We don't build schools with lockers anymore. Remember the old days of the lockers? We just opened Struma High School. We took all the lockers out of there. Very few of our schools are using lockers anymore because you have the technology in your hand right there. So that's some of the changes we're doing. So what are we doing to intervene for our students? And I'm going to talk briefly about K-8 interventions. Research-based strategy, data-driven. We're going to drive all the way down to the individual student, where each student, we can look at what they do, they can take a benchmark assessment, we can see what they're doing, and then intervene on that individual student's basis. That's the kind of interventions we have to have. Frequent site visits and continued observation. The principals are going to be on board with that. The ESSA planning grant that we recently applied for identifies exactly what we're going to do and who we're going to be working with in that. So I'm not going to tell you that it's perfect. No one's perfect. We're not perfect either. What I'm telling you is that this staff right here in this system is working very hard, and this board too is working very, very hard to make sure we give the best opportunity we can for our students. I'm going to tell you, and I say it all the time, we work for the people of Baton Rouge. The people of Baton Rouge have been very good to us, and we're going to give them the best we have to offer. A couple of things I've done recently is I've set up 5 ad hoc committees. Now these ad hoc committees are outside of the school system board because I want just a brainstorming. They don't have any time, scheduled time to meet. So here they are, zero-based budgeting. If we're going to bring a balanced budget, we need to really make sure what is absolutely required. So I asked Mr. Crochet to bring us a zero-based budget, put an ad hoc committee together, and he's been working on that. And basically it means, what do you have to have? Well, you have to have teachers, right? You have to have a school, you have to have a principal, put that stuff in there. You have to transport them to school, put that in there. Now then we start looking at everything else. What else is in there that we may not have to have? Because when you have a deficit like we do, we need to be lean and mean, and we're working on that. Another one is attendance zones. As our schools, as we work on this new upcoming facilities plan, and we had our first public forum last night at the IRC. Our second one's tonight at Woodlawn Middle School. You're all welcome to come, where we're going to do an interactive informational session. We're not going to give information. They're going to give it to us. We don't do a lot of talking. We actually work with the community, get somebody to be a part of that committee. We sit down and say, what do you need? What do you think we need? Where do you think we need it? That's what we're looking to do right now. And that's based on really 4 things. Number 1, principal input. We got like 400 or 500 pages of what the principals want. And of course, everybody wants a new school, right? You probably don't know this, but the average age of construction in East Baton Rouge Parish is 1968. Think about that a minute. Now, that is in addition to saying thank you to the public, because over the last 10 years, we've built 18 new schools. That just shows you we have over 100 facilities. So we need to upgrade the facilities, the technology. It was with principal input, board input, it was with a demographic study, and then community input. And that's the phase we're in right now, community input. And we're going to have 3 cycles. Now, what does that mean exactly? And I'm going to just tell you. This month and next, we're going to do cycle 1, and that's last night, tonight, and next week is going to be a meeting at Claiborne Elementary. Then we're going to come back to the board and say, here's the input we have from all these different groups. Now let's see where we are. We know that we can't afford to do all of this. And where does the money come? It comes from a 1-cent sales tax that you, the community, approved originally in 1998. Thank you very much. It was for 5 years. Then again, 5 years later, you approved it. An overwhelming 60 to 70% approval rating. Then for a third time, it was approved for a 10-year plan, and that's the plan we're in right now. Actually, that plan still has 2 schools, Park Elementary. Park Elementary has a partnership with Cornell University on project-based learning, and we're going to build a project-based learning school there. Now, it was originally set for 660 students. We're going to right-size that school down to about 400. And then the last project in the current tax plan is Jefferson Home Sites. Jefferson Home Sites is the 20-acre site that we have that's right behind Blue Cross. Y'all know where that is, right off of Bluebonnet. It's 3 blocks away from Jefferson Terrace Elementary. So on October 10th, we're going to go to Jefferson Terrace Elementary. We're going to sit down, have the same type of meeting we're having right now and say, we need your input on Jefferson Home Sites. What do you want to see there? The school board owns it. It's property they've had a long time. It's a great location. And we want to hear from the community to say, what do you want here? How do you want to do this? And so those are some of the things we're doing with the tax plan, with the facility plan. One of the things we do want to do is broaden our community engagement. Thank you all to our partners. I just had a brainstorm this morning. Probably should have done it before, but I'd just like to see a list of our community partners. We have so many community partners that help us. You know, right here, the arts. Renee, of course, they're one of our community partners. And so many different groups that help us each and every day. And ExxonMobil, I can just go on and on. Probably the one that helps us the most right now is this foundation. This foundation has really, really done a lot with us in STEM education. I think coming up, they're going to send 8 people, and Kayla, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have 8 people going to the IBM STEM. Tell me what it is real quick.
The STEM ecosystem, national convening in Kansas City.
And so they're going to bring back some knowledge, and this is a diverse group of community people through the foundation who are going to be doing that. So that is going to be awesome, and I can't wait for that to happen. That's pretty much coming up. So let me talk about the current organization of the tax plan here, and I'm going to finish with this. The tax renewal plan is going to be April 18th. So we're going to go back to the people and say, thank you so much for what you've done. This is a renewal. It's not a new tax. It is a renewal. It's a 1-cent sales tax. It has 3 propositions. The first proposition is building new schools and renovating schools. I want us to concentrate on building new schools, maybe consolidating some schools. We had a great listening opportunity last night and learned a lot, and we will do that again tonight, and that will help drive exactly what we do. But the second part of that is proposition 2 is for discipline centers, it's safe schools. And then proposition number 3 is supporting the teachers with salary supplement. Those are the 3 parts of that proposition. And over the last 10 years, like I said, we've built many, many schools in Baton Rouge, and we're still working to make sure that we upgrade them. The technology piece is important. We're in the 21st century. Kids are going to have computers. They're going to work on computers. They're going to learn on computers. They're going to test on computers, and we have to make sure we're doing that. So let me just give you a little bit of data. As I said, the EBR, our school construction averages 1968. That's hard to believe when we've had these programs going on and on, but it's a massive system facility-wise. The majority of our facilities are over 50 years old. 80% of district buildings were built before 1977. Now you think about that a minute. 80% of the buildings we have right now were built before 1977. And I'm going to finish up with just a couple of things here and let you know when these community forums are and when the cycles are. Cycle 1 we're in right now, last night, tonight, next week at Claiborne. Cycle 2, I think, starts October 24th or thereabout, and it will go into November. And in that cycle, we will meet at, and so let me tell you what these cycles are about. Cycle 1 is to get information from the community. We've got it from the principals. We have it from the demographer who says you need to build schools in Southeast Baton Rouge Parish. That's where the people are building and growing. And then from the principals, and then from the board, and now from the community. After that first cycle, we'll go back to the board and say, okay, here's the first information we've gleaned from all of these people. What do we do with it? We have to start narrowing it down. We don't have enough money to do everything that we want to do. So we will narrow that down. Then we'll take it out to the public in Cycle 2. Cycle 2, we're going to meet at Mayfair Lab School on October 24th, Estruma High School October 26th, and Lee High School on November 9th. Then we'll go back to the board again. I think we'll have enough information to go, okay, this is what we need to do. We know where we're going. We know what we need to either close, renovate, consolidate, where we need to put it. We're working with some realtors on property in the southern part of Baton Rouge, all across the parish. Then we finalize with the board what we're going to do. And then we're going to take it out for a final review in Cycle 3. That will be at Scotlandville Magnet High School, January 23rd, Glen Oaks High School, January 25th, Broadmoor High School, January 30th, and McKinley High School on February 6th. And from those 4 community meetings, we'll take it back and go, okay, do we need to change it anymore, or is this what we want to go to the community with? And then we'll take it to the people. Again, I want to say thank you to the people of Baton Rouge. They have supported us with 3 different phases of facility upgrades over almost 20 years. And they have supported us greatly and to a large degree, and we appreciate that. And so we will go back to them again and say, we appreciate you, we thank you, we want your support again. Every project we've had in all 3 phases has come in under budget and on time. In fact, some of the monies that we've saved from that under budget of respecting the people of Baton Rouge has been able to give us Estruma High School. We were able to find those monies that we were from saved projects over the years that we were able to reopen Estruma High School. Estruma High School now has about 450 students in grade 9th and 10th. It will continue to grow up. We will add Estruma Middle Magnet in January, and we're going to add some programs where we keep those students matriculating up through Estruma High School. And it will be a combination school, 6 through 12. So I really want to thank you for being here today. I don't know if I talked 20 minutes or not. We are going to focus, number one, on the lower performing schools. We have 15% of our schools that are National Blue Ribbon schools. We have awesome opportunities for families around Baton Rouge. But we do have 29 lower performing schools that we're going to focus on this year and give them a goal to reach, to give them intensive assistance, to work with our staff, make sure their curriculum is correct and right, and then work with the principals to look at the data and do what we have to do to help those kids on an individual basis.
You've had success at doing that with other schools.
Absolutely. The first year we were here, we made great academic progress. Last year with the flood, there was a lot of turmoil and movement, mobility, and we didn't do as well. So we're going to refocus our attention on these kids in these schools and really do what we can to help our kids get better.
A lot of people see and hear the phrase one team, one mission. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it means everyone is just as important as the next person. It takes all of us. You've heard the phrase, it takes a village. Well, it takes every person, whether you are the principal of the school, the superintendent, the instructional leader, if you're mowing the grass or preparing the meals. Every person is just as important as the next. That's something I've always lived by. I think it's very important. Every time I go to schools, I visit with all different people on that campus. So I want people to know how important they are. We can't do without them. This is a $500 million corporation. We want to give the community the best we have to offer, and that's sort of our philosophy every day that we work in this system.
If people have questions like more information, what should they do?
Well, ebrschools.org. I wish they would visit one of our schools. We want to be the choice for EBR parents, so visit one of our schools, the one closest to you, or anyone you would like to, or go to ebrschools.org. We appreciate you.